Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Good. Now we move to soil structure. Soil structure. Soil structure is defined as the arrangement and the packaging of different particles of the soil. The way the soil is arranged and packed together. That is what we call the soil structure. Now some soil will be loosely packed. Some will be tightly packed and fused together and cemented together. When the soil is loosely packed, it has a lot of advantage for cross growth. But when it is cemented and tightly packed together, it will hinder proper root growth. It will hinder the free movement of water into the soil. So, but if you want to maintain your soil structure, you want your soil structure to be good and to support proper growth of the crops, there are a few things to do. This include mulching. Mulching is when you put dry leaves on top of the soil. After you have made your heaps or ridges, you put leaves, dry leaves on top of the soil to prevent over-evaporation, because over-evaporation will dry the soil. So when you mulch the soil with some green plants or dry leaves you put on top of the soil, after planting the seed, this will conserve the soil structure. Or you plant cover crops. Cover crops like mukuna, like tosima, like cowpea, all the leguminous crops, they are cover crops. They will spread and they will creep and cover the soil, preventing direct scorching of the soil, which will bake up the soil. Then you can do liming. Liming is the application of liming materials such as calcium oxide, calcium carbonate, dolomite, gypsum. We'll talk about that later. When you add the lime material to the soil, it releases acidity and conserves the soil structure. Then manuring, either organic manure or fire manure, compost manure. Manures help to conserve the soil structure. Then you prevent overgrazing. If you are using the land to graze animals, you disallow animals from overgrazing. When animal overgraze, it exposes the soil to high intense rays of sunlight, which will destroy the structure. Then you also avoid total clearing, of the farmland with a machine. You don't totally clear the land and expose it to sun. You don't do that. You clear and allow some little plants to remain so that they cover the soil. Those are ways to maintain soil structure. But let's look at the types of soil structure. We have about 6 major types. The first one is single grain structure. Single grain structure of the soil. Now we find that the primary particles here will stay independently. They will stay singly. They will not cement together. This is common in sandy soil. The grains, the particles that make the soil will stand independently. They are not cemented, they are not coerced, they are not pressed together. That's common in sandy soil. Second one is the crumb structure. When something is crumb, it means it's coming together with aggregate. They will have some big molecules and the smaller molecules to combine together. So in crumb structure, the large gravel stones, they are present inside the primary particles and they are fused together and they are cemented together. When we talk about cement, we talk about clay particles holding them together in position, not really cement that we use in building, but the clay particles will be there and will hold the particles together tightly. So that is crumb structure. Then we have plate-like structure, like name stands. It's like plates. It's like they are placed one upon the other. The particles are very flat. The particles are flat and they are arranged on top of one another and they are cemented together like that. Now that's found in the subsoil. Then you have spheroidal structure, which is also called granular, like granules. So the particles are in circular forms. They are like granules, like a circular forms. They are embedded together in the primary particles with a lot of air spaces. Then you have the prismatic structure. The prismatic structure, they are like spheroidal also, but the difference is that they coexist like prism or they coexist like a roundish, which is columnar. When they exist like prism, we call them prismatic structure. And if they occur like columns, like round one on top of each other, they are called columnar structure. Then we have block-like structure. They are like block. Block are like a rectangle, or anyhow. So they are like blocks, and they have irregular edges, which could be sharp or could be curved or rounded. Example is a subsoil. It's very subsoil. So these are the 6 types of structure we have: the single grain structure, the crumb structure, the platelet structure, the spheroidal structure, the prismatic structure, which was the columnar, and the block-like what structure. Good. Now, the soil structure is important because it guides the plants. The soil structure determines the easiness of the roots to enter the soil. It also determines the easiness of the water to percolate into the soil. It also suggests the easiness of the microorganism to enter the soil. If the soil is so packed together, it may be difficult for microorganisms to enter and break down the plant and animal remains to form organic matter. But when it is loose, it's quite easy, and the soil will break, and the microorganisms will be able to enter the soil. Now, the well structured soil will support proper growth of crops. That's why it's good to maintain it by mulching, planting cover crops, liming it, manuring, the avoid overgrazing, and avoidance of total mass clearance. Then we move to the soil temperature. The soil temperature, we talk about the temperature within the soil. This is not the outside temperature. Normally, you should expect the soil temperature to be very high because it's not exposed to proper ventilation that we enjoy on top of the soil. So inside the soil temperature is a function. The temperature can determine a lot of things. It can determine the life of microbes in the soil. When soil temperature is so high, it can make the soil living organism to be inactive, or when it is too high, it can even kill some of them. The soil temperature is necessary when it comes to germination. The soil temperature must be good enough and moderate enough to enable seeds to germinate. It shouldn't be so high that it will bake and kill the seeds in the soil or kill the organisms in the soil. The soil temperature, can also be of importance when it comes to planting of tuber crops. The tuber crops, when the temperature is so high, the development of tuber will be very low. But when it's good, the development is not too high, the temperature will be good, the growth will be good. Then the living organisms like termites, all those things, earthworms, when the soil temperature is high, it reduces their activities. So soil temperature must be low, must be mild. The soil temperature could become cool during rainy season because of rainfall, and it can become very high during dry season because of a shortage of rainfall. Okay, we move to soil pH. pH is defined as degree of alkalinity and acidity of the soil, or the quantity of hydrozoic ion in the soil. The quantity of hydrozoic ion in the soil, or the degree of acidity or alkalinity of the soil. The pH is measured by pH scale. The pH scale is a sort of a range, or pH that runs from 1 to 14. In that range 7 is called neutral. 1 to 6 is acidic, while 8 to 14 is the alkaline. The lower the pH, the stronger the acidity. So when it is 1, strong acid, 2, strong acid, and the bigger the pH, the stronger the alkalinity. So 13 and 14 will be strong alkaline. As I'm moving from 6 down to 1, you are increasing acidity. As I'm moving from 8 up to 14, you are increasing alkalinity. Okay? When do we say a soil is acidic? A soil is acidic when the pH is higher than, is lesser than 7. And when you have the soil acidic, it connotes a lot of things. It shows that the living organism there will be suffering because living organisms survive better under alkaline condition. When the soil is acidic, the living organisms that are made in their life cannot continue the process of the creation of organic matter, and they cannot recirculate nature. So soil acidity, it will also affect the organic matter level of the soil because the microorganism cannot break down organic matter. The soil will not have organic matter. So what do we need to do? We need to reduce soil acidity. But what I think that can cause soil to be acidic? The first one is leaching. When the important nutrients of the soil have been leached down below the soil and remains some hydrogen ion on the surface. These hydrogen ion will be so concentrated that it makes the soil to behave like an acid. Then you have the use of acidic fertilizer. Acidic fertilizer like ammonium nitrate, ammonium sulfate, When we add them to the soil, they are acidic, and they will build up the acid level of the soil, thereby creating acidic soil. Then, acid parent materials. So parent materials are acidic in nature by the virtue of content of the chemical they contain. So when these parent materials produce soil, the soil will call it be what? Be acidic. Then you have nutrient uptake. Many times, the plant have some preference in taking certain nutrients. And when such nutrients are taken, and it remains hydrogen ion in the soil, that's why ion in the soil will make the soil acidic. Then our presence of sulfur. When there is sulfur in the soil, what can react with water to form sulfuric acid. Then you also have those are points, those are reasons why soil may be acidic. Then we can overcome it. To overcome acidity, what to do is called liming. That's the application of lime materials to the soil. Lime materials are different types. You have the calcium carbonate, CaCO3. You have the quick lime, CaO. You have the snake lime, Ca(OH) into 2. That is a lime material. Then you have others, such as wood ash, dolomite, gypsum, calcium bicarbonate, calcium bicarbonate, basic slag. All these things are lime materials and can be used to reduce or eliminate soil acidity.